Seen delays after delays after delays. When do we get approval? When do you think this could all get rolling, or maybe not at all? What are your thoughts?
I think, well, the easy question is this. I am certain we will have a Bitcoin ETF in the US at some point in time. I mean, other countries already have companies offering these products, Europe, UK, and elsewhere. We know this firsthand. I know this firsthand because we provide the reference rate to these various different products via our subsidiary CF Benchmarks. It's the largest benchmark and indices provider in the crypto space. We also happen to have somewhat of a front row seat in that we are the selected reference rate provider for the majority of these ETF applications in the US. Now to the harder question, when is that actually going to happen? Right now the SEC, predictable, I don't think is the best adjective to describe them.
No.
I'm hopeful one of these that are in the queue, or several of them actually, will get through. I think it's possible this year. And even with greater possibility that we'll see it at least by sometime.
And with that, what's happening, Crypto Cruise? Sean's coming back at you, another cryptocurrency video. And as you've seen in that previous video, we're looking at gold. What happens when the spot ETF passes? That's what we're looking at right now. So Bitcoin could be going through a spot ETF. There's a high probability chance in the next 12 months that we could see a Bitcoin spot ETF. There's a good chance before March of 2024 that we'll see a Bitcoin spot ETF. So looking at gold really quick, we can compare gold to Bitcoin. They're not the same. One's actual tangible, there's an unset amount, but this is a commodity. And one thing that happened to this is a spot ETF got passed well over a decade ago, specifically way back in 2014. So what happened once the spot ETF was passed? Let's zoom into the price action here. We can see this was the year. In 2014, the price ranged between a low of about 367 and a high of 468, and it closed around 437. So we're going to measure at the close. We had an astronomical gain, and how high did we go? Well, let's take a measure move for you to see what we see, and we're going to take a look at the close. And since then, remember this is 2004, this is almost 20 years ago, we had a massive move of 337%. Now, why is this important? Why do we care? If there's any indication of what's to come with Bitcoin once the spot ETF passes, will the price go up 337%? If that's the case, where would this land us? So we'll just say at the current time it's recording, the price is coming in. We had a meltdown over the past 24 hours. We'll look at this in a little bit, but let's just use this as a benchmark. 26,380 as far as where we'll be measuring from. And if we pull this up 337%, how high would this take us as far as price action goes? 337% would take us all the way up to roughly around $115,000. So that's if we get there once if the spot ETF was passed today, it would take you into a six-figure Bitcoin. So as you can see, it took gold 20 years. Bitcoin moves a lot faster than gold does. The adoption curve has been moving up and to the right drastically over the past 12 years. It might not take 20 years to have that 337% gain. And mind you, when the Bitcoin spot ETF passes, it could be a lot higher. It could be up to like almost 50,000, and then that'll move that price action up. So if we did get it around 50K, we went 337% up from 50,000, that would take us up to roughly around 217%. Could this happen in a fourth of the time, half the time? Time will definitely tell. Over the next 10 years, Bitcoin is extremely bullish, and right now is an optimal buying opportunity with these red days like this. And as we mentioned, the day has been bloody. Looking at the last 7 days over here to the right, everything is just melting down. You see stable coins have gone up, but every crypto is on the meltdown. So why did this happen? Why is there a market meltdown? At the current time it's recording, Bitcoin's coming in at 26.4K. Over the past 7 days, we've seen a 10% decrease, and 9% ETH, 10.33, 22%, 12%, 12%, 19%. A lot of alts are getting decimated against Bitcoin. ETH held its own, but why this happened? SpaceX reportedly marks down Bitcoin holdings by $373 million. So if you don't know, SpaceX is led by Elon Musk, reportedly secured slight profit in Q1 of 2023 after writing off losses in 2021-2022. Uncertainty arises over whether SpaceX sold all its Bitcoin, having reduced its value by $373 million. Accounting rules dictate that once written down, the value of Bitcoin can't be adjusted upwards, even if the price rises. So SpaceX sold all their holdings. Is Elon Musk the reason why this is the meltdown? Probably so. So what's Elon have up his sleeve? Should we be anticipating more downside? Does he know something we don't? Is he looking to buy in at lower price action? Or is he just doing some tax harvesting? Time will definitely tell. But even though we had this pullback, is this a setup for a slingshot to 45,000? And we'll say, yes, this could be what's in the cards. Why do we say that? Well, we'll look at the charts here and see what we see. So as you see, we've been stair-stepping our way up, and Bitcoin has been respecting this light blue support line. And look what happened. We fell through and it wicked all the way down. But what we wicked down to, we wicked down to this green line. This is macro support of this previous peak here. This previous peak, we had this run up in August of 22 and it acted as resistance. Well, guess what? We just flipped this to support once again. And if we zoom into this price action, what do we see? We're still putting in higher lows. So the trend's your friend to the end, and you got to pay attention to what it's telling you. Because right now this is the weekly. Now this weekly could close, a little bit higher. We have to wait and see what this does. It's a huge weekly candle, but either way you cut the cloth, even this wick down, we had this wick down here before the 24/7. This is still putting in a higher low technically. Now we want to wait and see where we close at the end of this week, because as you see this blue line is an important line to pay attention to. This is your 200 moving average. This gets respected a lot. So if we get a close below this blue line and we come back up and retest it and get rejected, we could see a lot more bearish price action. That'll definitely be bearish. Now if we get back above this before the week's out and we close above it, now that's going to be showing you that this 200 moving average is being respected as support, as it did right here, and a bounce off. And so we have to pay attention to how this week closes. Right now we're extremely in the red, and if we get it closed below this, it's more bearish than it is bullish. But you have to wait and see what the next week does, because if you look back in the charts back in June of this year, we did actually get it closed below this and a retest. But then that was short-lived, because look what happened. We had this major run up, this major elephant candle here. So pay attention. Just because we get it closed below it, we could get a retest the next week, doesn't mean we're necessarily going to be seeing lower price action, because as you see, this was when we had that catalyst up in the Bitcoin price action. But as this macro support line has been respected really since way back in December of last year, we've been bouncing off this line once, twice, three, four times. Fourth time was a charm before it broke down to the downside. So will we come back and retest this and get back above this support line? That's something to pay attention to. Looking at the Bitcoin dominance as well. The Bitcoin dominance is looking a little skeptical as well. Same thing back in late last year. We've been bouncing up, bouncing up, bouncing up, and we just broke through this support line. And the support line, we haven't closed yet. This is the weekly chart once again, but this is the moving average, the 8 moving average, and this is the 20 moving average. So we could come down, test this, have a fake out before we see a bounce up. We're still below that 200. We haven't tested the 200s. Keep that in mind. So we're still putting in higher highs and higher lows. The trend's your friend to the end. The RSI seems to be a little bit overbought as well. So keep this in mind. This is something that we have to pay attention to, and time will tell. But right now, it looks like the Bitcoin dominance could be getting ready to fall off a cliff as well. Looking at the total crypto market capitalization, we're sitting at $1.034 trillion at the current time it's recording. And as you see, we come up and look at this price here. The light blue line is the 8 crossing over the 20 and the 200. And look at everything is sort of converging back together as one. And the overall crypto market capitalization sort of got rejected by both this 820 and got below that 200. So this is looking very, very bearish. And if you look here, this looks to have some type of double top M pattern where this could be the indication of some downwards pressure. So we have to wait and see how this week closes and then what next week gives us, because we could close below this, come back up, retest, or break back through and have a spike back up. So it's either going to spike back up or it's going to retest and have a continuation to the downside. So patience is key. Right now, either way you cut the cloth, getting in, dollar cost averaging, stacking sats during this time frame is not a bad idea. And with that, I'm Sean with the Bitcoin Bros. If you guys like this content, go ahead and smash the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and show us some love. We appreciate the support. With that, that's all I have for you today. And I'm out.